Hey guys, this is Danny Drawhands, and I'm drawing a quick architecture sketch, and that is the topic of today's video. I wanted to show you guys how you can draw a very quick architecture sketch, which will help you draw whatever you are looking at as quickly as possible. You just kind of have to know some basic principles and draw out of your instinct and try to capture what you're looking at as quickly as possible. So when I talk about sketching, to me, sketching is something that has to be done kind of spontaneously and doesn't has to have a lot of preparation. You just sort of pick up a pen or a pencil and you start drawing in whatever you get. That's a sketch for me. I don't know what the literal definition is, but that's how I look at it. A drawing I see as a little bit more detailed, a little bit more prepared, a little bit more serious. Sketching for me has always been a little bit less serious, so that's what I'm trying to explain in today's video. I just quickly drew this Romanesque looking building within a few minutes, and I will demonstrate a couple more of these in today's video to show how you guys can also draw something like this pretty quickly while you're vacationing in Europe or somewhere else where you're looking at a fascinating piece of architecture and you want to capture it on your sketchbook very, very quickly. Nobody has enough time to stand and, stand in the sun for hours trying to draw a building. So this is something that you may find useful while you're traveling or if you're looking at a photograph and you really like to draw something quickly. So I focus on geometry, proportion, and just trying to capture the essence of the drawing that I'm looking at. It doesn't need to be super perfect, as you can see right here. None of the details make any sense. It's all kind of just made to. It doesn't need to be a perfect representation of it. It's supposed to be a quick sketch, so it needs to pick up the essence of the picture that you looked at or the scenery that you looked at. So this was one example, and I will show you one from the very beginning to the end again, and see if you guys can follow the steps that I take and see if maybe this comes useful to you. Okay, so I'm looking at this picture right here in the corner, and I'm looking at where to start. I usually start drawing top to bottom because these kinds of buildings, they're kind of more eye-catching near the top, and then I start to trace these major elements without any measurement or preparation. It's perfectly okay to get these lines wrong because it is supposed to be a rough sketch, so I'm never really too worried about getting these smaller details incorrectly. I'm barely drawing some of the details on my sketch. All I want to do is trace the overall geometry, get the proportion correct. You're supposed to capture the feeling and the grandness and the scale of the building. That's one of the reasons I kind of pick these subjects. They have this grandeur to them that I really enjoy to capture. So as you can see, some of the windows, there's just barely some scribbles. There's barely any detail. This is all supposed to be very spontaneous. This bottom section of the drawing of the building is supposed to be at a different angle. And once you get a feeling of that perspective, right, everything sort of locates itself. Some of the finer details, they will always find their place once you have the general angle. One thing that I learned while drawing these kinds of sketches is you don't have to you have to make a decision of what you're drawing and what you're leaving out because uh, there needs to be a focus on your subject, and then at some point you need to decide what you want to include in your sketch and what you will not take into it. So I'm going to leave some of that stuff here on the side, and I'm going to just continue the building over here, and I'm barely just going to give an idea of what's going on here on the left side. This is barely going to have any detail whatsoever, and this is about where I'm going to leave it. We are going to do a little bit of shading, nothing close to what I do sometimes in my other drawings, where I'm trying to get a little bit more closer to reality. This is just to give an idea of, okay, here's the lights coming from the right side, so and here are these windows. This will give some variation and draw some interest into the drawing. It's okay if you cheat a little bit and depart a little bit from your picture or the building that you're looking at. You want to create an interesting scene, and so this sketch I think is roughly clocking in at around 4.5 to 5 minutes in real time, which is the subject, which is the purpose of this video. And I'm really not gonna be going into any more detail with the main building, and just gonna give a little bit of a shadow here on the side, and that's gonna take care of that. And yep, and that's it, we're done. Nothing else needs to be done here. This is a very quick and rudimentary sketch of a scene. Let's do another one over here, very similar to what we did before. You can see the photograph here on the side. This is kind of at a lower angle, and this kind of drawing, to draw it correctly, you would have to draw many perspective lines and reference points, and the kind of the fun in that is lost. So I right here am trying to draw it just based on my instincts, and not being bothered too much about going down that route, because uh, I like to enjoy the process and not get caught up in all these technical uh, requirements that one needs to do to draw a perfectly good looking drawing. I think the more I trust my instinct, the more fun the drawing becomes. So let's do that for now, and just providing barely any detail here. And one thing that you may want to remember while making these sketches is continuity. Uh, Wherever you leave one line, you need to continue in that direction and pick up the flow that you will take into the next line. Flow is everything when it comes to these sketches. You should not be spending too much time on one part, because it could slow you down and it could take your flow away from your sketch. You could lose your style and get caught up in trying to draw a perfect drawing. So make sure that when you're making a quick sketch, maintain your flow, have a good control over your flow, and rest of the drawing sort of follows your flow the way that you are proceeding into the sketch. So right here, I'm trying to follow wherever my pen kind of leads me. So wherever one line would end, whatever is supposed to be there, I would continue that. And this drawing at some point is going to take me back to the first half of the sketch where I was drawing the dome. And because my flow is on this other building, I'm not really going there right now. So I'm drawing these quick little windows here. That's gonna take care of that. Not much detail here, just a general idea of the perspective. Some rafters, and that's about it. Nothing too cumbersome. Um, but this sketch also kind of clocks in around 5 to 6 minutes, uh, which is the entire point. Just try to make it as quick as possible, and just draw something that reminds you of the subject. It doesn't need to be a perfect depiction of it. And you're done. Okay, let's try another one here. I'm gonna draw the tower with a little bit more of a squarish building this time. but I'm gonna have sort of like a dome here in the back. This is again in perspective. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, not trying to overly complicate myself. Now, when you are drawing this quickly, it is very much possible to get your perspective wrong, which will make your drawing look wonky. That's something that you do need to take care of. So you don't have to actually draw each of these perspective lines with vanishing points to get it right, but the more you do these kind of drawings, your general sense of perspective will improve, and that's going to encourage you to keep drawing without worrying too much about that. But you can see that I have a general idea of the perspective lines of it. Um, it's not so much of a factor here on the circular building, but I was thinking about that when I was making the tower, and the windows kind of closely follow my perspective lines, but not too much. And just draw these basic lines here, just barely any detail, some shade, and boom, there you go. Another quick sketch that will remind you of a trip that you went on or something that you saw quickly. Let's do another one here quickly. Draw another dome here, followed by kind of like a tower. Like I'll kind of combine the two concepts and make a single one here. This is another 2 to 3 minute sketch. Just quick lines, general idea of perspective, very, very quickly, proportion, scale, and that's it. Then you just kind of give the presence, the building, just an idea of the windows. But the main thing that you need to worry about is your flow. How are you handling your flow? Is it being distracted? Are you is your style changing throughout the drawing? That's something that you need to worry about. It doesn't need to look like two different people drew it. It needs to look like your drawing, and for that you need to keep with your flow. I'll do another one here with kind of like a castle-like setting. This is another tower, but instead of a dome and being a Romanesque architecture piece, this is going to be a little bit more of a contemporary with some wood shingles here on the top and maybe a window or two down there, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how you can play with different styles to make these sketches. Doesn't need to be always classical architecture or Romanesque, just whatever you're looking at. Just keep your freedom while you're drawing these. This kind of practice will make your hand flow a little bit easier. You will not overthink things. And I'm just going to draw some windows here, not too much detail, and I will give a little bit of a shade, and that should take care of the drawing. Draw some shingles here. Shingles here at the side. Just very basic detail. And you kind of develop a language as you're drawing, and you can see that these kind of make it look like there's some kind of a roofing system going on here, and I'll give some shade here and underneath it, make it look like it's three-dimensional. And there's some shadow here, some shade here on the other side. And that will wrap up the drawing. So yeah, guys, that was it. So if you've enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.